Hello and welcome to the Comedian's Paradise. This is the podcast where we speak to some unique, fascinating people that help comedians like you and me live comedy on our own terms and find our hilarious niche. Now, today's guest has the name of Variety D. There's a lot of euphemisms you may come up from that name, but she thinks that we don't know. Who cares? But she's an absolutely amazing comedian with tremendous stories, so many things to say. And the only the main D she does is put the D into the punchline. Please welcome Variety D.
Woo! Yeah.
Did you like my intro?
Yeah, I mean the intro is very inside, it was like it touched me inside in my heart. Whatever you were thinking earlier, behave yourself. But yes, it was it was touching here. Nowhere here is here. Yeah,
Where it matters.
exactly.
Now, thanks for coming on the podcast. For anyone that doesn't know about you and they're saying, "What? Who is this Variety D? Tell me a bit about this lovely lass." What would you say about yourself?
Okay, well, despite your Cockney bants, yeah, I mean, yeah, they put you right off me, coming you right off of the line, you know. Okay, so my name Variety D. Okay, and then variety for lots of reasons, mainly because of my background. I am not mixed race, I'm mixed up. I mix up with so many different nationalities. It's just mad. Especially in different continents. So you got South America, the Caribbean, and then you got Europe. So there's my heritage right there. Then I love a variety of different type of music. So I don't listen to all this grime and predictive lyrical music. Like, yeah, I was crossing over, yeah, and I went to the shop and yeah, what, yeah, ski, woo, yeah. No, I'm not into them kind of thing there. But I do applaud those artists. But I still listen to old school stuff like on Magic FM, London's Heart to get to sleep. I come from South London, so I do hear a lot of police sirens. Where I am, that's why I put on the radio a bit higher because the police sirens are really noisy, and I'm trying to get some shy. I'm born a Lambeth girl, but now I live in Croydon, so not really better. No. And yeah, just living life. I've been doing comedy for 15 years, nearly 16 years this year. And I'm still learning.
She's been doing
Yeah.
comedy like Sweet 16.
Yeah, at age 16. Yeah.
So, like, what is it? But you were also an actress as well. So you got you
Yeah.
mixed with two different. You've got so many different people you mixed in. You got the arty farties and like the all this great. And you got the comics who are very straightforward.
Yeah, so my father is yes, Uncle Attenborough, yes. I mean, and I went, oh, that's nice. Yeah. How's your puppies? Like, literally, I'd be like that.
But we are both at the end of the day arrogant narcissists. I'm joking.
I mean, comedians
I'm
have
joking.
that narcissism. Any performer has to have that little bit of narcissism, but don't let it take over you. You got to control it.
Well, I did a bit of research in it, and like a lot of narcissists don't even look into it, or they don't even think they have it for starters. So that's
Yeah, because they're over narcissistic. That's why they go, no, I don't. They're in denial. You see, they need help.
I watched a bit of the True Geordie podcast, and with Richard Grannon, who was on the Trigonometry podcast, and he
Yeah.
mentioned a bit about narcissism being someone that had a bit of a traumatic, funny childhood, where their defense mechanism since they was a child was to live in a fantasy world, and then it goes into adulthood. So if you are going to try and have an honest conversation, it's impossible because they've got this big shell that they surround themselves with.
Well, yeah, it's their own utopia, ain't it? Like mentally. I mean, I have a neurological disorder, so even I should say mental as well. I'm now known as the first black disabled comic in this era since the era of Charlie Williams, and that's going back to the 60s. So, and with him, he's had successions anyway. So after he died of Parkinson's and that, he already done this stuff and got his knighthood and everything. Me, I got no hood. I got hoodies let upstairs, but I don't know. no OBEs and that yet. But yeah, it's like, so with that being said, it's really difficult. People have their own little zones. Like me, I'm misunderstood. Even in urban, I was misunderstood with what I said back then. I would literally talk about things that currently happened in, say, what, Streatham, and I'd be like, "Oh, I know you're talking about. You can't say that." But why? Why can't I say that? No, because you got. And I don't say people's names. All I do is gestures and like voice mimicking,
Okay.
and straight away the audience member will know you're talking about Tyrone. You're talking about Zico. And I'm like, oh, is that their name? Oh, okay, well, you know what I'm saying? So it's things like that. Like America have like 20, 30 years advanced than us. They're not perfect, but they're literally keeping things moving light years away from us. And when we talk about black comedy, so the black British and African Americans are similar yet different. The thing is, do I want to go to America? Yes, I want to go there again and perform at the Comedy Store, Sunset Boulevard. I've never performed in Comedy Store in the UK, in Manchester or London, but I've done the original one in Sunset Boulevard in LA. And it wasn't the main room; it's called the belly room, but it was still big. It was fantastic, and the atmosphere was just it was incredible, And the comedians that I met and rubbed shoulders with, I'm thinking, I just watched you literally as I came out of my hotel, and you're here. Oh wait, we're in Hollywood. Duh. Like that's the thing. And the thing is, the comedian said to me, "What was his name again?" Chris Delahaye. He said to me, "Well, yeah, it's Hollywood. Yeah, where you from? Because you know your accent." I said, "Oh, I'm from London." You should be used to it. You guys got the same thing. I said, no, 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 no. Because what a lot of Americans tend to think, they think that as Londoners, because we live or we're not too far from our own studios. So, for instance, at the BBC, they assume that we rub shoulders with our A-listers in this country. Like, just walk down West End and you go to get a McDonald's fries, and then boom, you bump into, like, I don't know, BBC News presenter or something like that. That's not how it works. You see what I'm saying?
I do get it to degree. I mean, but still, I think you got more access to big names in comedy than you do as a performer than you do as a musician. Like the distance between contacting them is much smaller.
That's a good one. That's a good point, because it depends though. Because if you're in because what I've been noticing over the years is that if you're in certain unions, so musicians have music unions, musician unions stuff, whilst actors have ones as well. So for instance, like Equity Union or Beck to work behind the cameras, doing writing and stuff. Comedians don't have one yet, and if they do, someone please tell us now. In this country, we do have Actors Guild in this country, while that over there in America they have Screen Actors Guild as well. I'm trying to think all the other ones now. That I participated into, but again, it's a bit of touch and go. If you don't know about them, you would never meet those people. But if you do, you're more likely to meet those people.
So,
and not just once, but again and again and again.
I can tell you a bit about my experience of going to the LA Comedy Store and the Comedy Cellar. So in the Comedy Cellar, it was good. I enjoyed both. I preferred the Comedy Cellar more than the Comedy Store. The Comedy Cellar, they had less acts, so it was more concentrated. They had Andrew Schultz blowing the roof off.
I love him. I've met him a couple of times.
Oh, he's brilliant, isn't he? His crowd works.
Yeah, you see incredible. My video where I'm literally like, my comedy crush.
No, I haven't seen it. Not yet. Show me.
This is before he got married.
He's obviously had a lot of fun, I bet. He's incredible. It was in a great. I was with a couple of friends. I watched it, and the thing about it was that you paid as you left rather than as you got in, but you had to book it online on the phone. You would have to get a drink and meal in both of them with the ticket.
Yeah, you have to get there early. Put your name in the bucket or something like that, and put your name in the list, and then.
No. I watched it. I didn't bother to go and perform whilst I was there, and then in both instances, in the LA Comedy Store, they had all the big guns like Jeff Garland. They had Eliza Schlesinger, Kevin Nealon. They had Theo Von. all these big names back to back. It was I definitely preferred the Comedy Cellar. It was more concentrated. I felt in the Comedy Store they had too many together, and
I think because what
but it was
season
in
did
the
you go to
original room.
LA?
It was in the original room as well, rather than the
Okay,
main room.
yeah. What season did you go though to LA?
So I started my trip in America in November 2017, and I finished it in December. So it was in the winter, I think.
Yeah, because I went winter as well, 2016, and that was when I was on the podcast Black Hollywood Live, and that same week that's when I did the Comedy Store Belly Room.
Oh,
But I think because I knew some of the comics from before then, and then God rest her soul, Misty, who ran the Comedy Store.
it's sure, yeah.
Yeah, like I think that's what got me in there, you know, and had a wonderful time. And I got to like walk what was it, past the piano, and you got these steps, and you've got the comedians section there, and you got the
Oh,
bar, and you got up the stairs and more. And obviously that's closed because of the VIP section, you know, for parties and whatever. Um, so yeah, the place is huge compared to Leicester Square. Leicester Square is like a nursery compared to
yeah,
that.
that comedy club's small. Yeah, it's compared
It's
to.
tiny. So you walk in, we walk in London comedy stores, we're like, oh God, it's a bit, excuse me, yeah, you're right. Oh God, the bit. Like, you be like that.
It is a funny thing, but I mean they're both incredible places. But yeah, I do love it over America, and as
Yeah.
someone who's travelled to both sides of the pond, I'm interested to hear what your thoughts on the comedy over there is, as opposed to here.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've been in and out of America since I was 4 years old. Cause I have family that live in New York, so that's on the East Coast. So my family who live in Flatbush, New York, not too far from let me see, Brooklyn, and you can get distance to Manhattan. Um, I've come across a lot of people within the industry. So, for instance, a lot of like CNN connections to the cable news network. I remember, what's that guy's name? He passed away recently, but he had them strap things. And I used to say to the man, I said, "You copy Mr. Bean." And
Patricia
he's got,
Neal.
I think his name, no, white man. I think his name's Larry. Is it Larry King?
Oh,
And he did his, he did, he used to
Norm
interview a lot of
Macdonald,
celebs.
or Norm Macdonald, or what's the other guy
No, no,
called?
it's not Norm Macdonald. Gore Sisto as well. That's a Saturday Night Live. I remember walking past there as well, SNL studios.
Bobby
And
Saget.
but no, I think his name's Larry King, the one who works at CNN.
Okay.
He passed away recently, and I remember bumping into him when I was a little girl, and going, "You copy Mr. Bean?" No, I'm telling, like, because I was like, "Yay, hi." And that was just hilarious because even my family over there going, "Oh my God, you're so brave," kind of thing. And then like the people would dress up like Ronald McDonald back then. You'll see Chuck E. Cheese like around the corner as well. It's freaking mad. Like New York to me is like a stretched out Central London. It's like a stretched out Piccadilly Circus with more crazies. That's what
Yeah,
it's like.
a little bit, definitely.
And the weather's different. Smells different as well. Taxis are no. Taxis are yellow, whilst ours are black. Um, they have wider roads, higher skyscrapers, and there's a lot of actors and comedians walking past you. That's what I'm saying. With America, it's different. But here, we do have actors and comedians walking past, but they walk steadfast. They won't look at you, acknowledge, or be like, "Oh my God." I think in this country we're too we got too many introverts. We're very, very introverted, very, like, "Oh, don't talk to me," kind of thing. Whilst America's like, "Hey, good morning. Hi." They're just like, they're all up in your face. Like, "Oh, yeah, hi. I saw you just like yesterday. Yeah, keep doing your thing." Whilst over here, you mostly, I have to use that example as well. You meet an EastEnders cast member, you're more times you go to like, "Hey, I saw you on." "All right, yeah, I know you saw me. All right, cool, yeah, yeah, yeah." They'll be like, "They're the face," and I'm like, "Yo, chill, man. I'm saying, look, you're doing well as an actor. I'm gonna give you the thumbs up, man. I know you're playing a baddie, but there." Jeez. So it's very defensive in this country, and I don't want to become that person. I don't want to be that guy or that girl, that makes it big and be like, "Hey, variety." I'm like, "Oh my God, yo, driver, get me." Yeah. It's like that's what all the McDonald's now, yeah, tinted windows and stuff like that. "Yeah, can I have the nuggets and the fries?" Hurry up, man. Look, I know you recognize me. Okay, give me two barbecue sauces. Let them one the
What?
window and
But what if you have a what if you had a funny chili con carne and you had to shit to something and then someone talks to you, you're gonna want to hide then, or you're gonna like don't bother me
it's
then.
true. That's a good point. Yeah, because that's embarrassing. But as a comedian, that's hilarious because you can utilize that. You can be like, okay, my bowels are speaking. Move out the way. You know what I'm
My
saying?
bowels are speaking.
And then you could literally use a force, get that out, and then next day also wash your hands after. Happy birthday twice when washing your hands, and then talk about it in the next gig. So if everybody else in the area is not talking about you, you're like, oh yeah, I spoke about it. Come to my gig. Yeah, come. We'll talk about this. You witness me. That
To be honest, I think a superpower that everyone would like to have is to be able to let a horrid smell when to put someone off that you don't like when they're near you. Just
when
let
you're
it
there,
out of
yeah.
control. Like I have a little button. Psh.
That's a good one though. But I
But
mean, I think if you connect back to the industry we were talking about earlier, when it comes to like fans or people who there's ordinary Joes who are non-industry, all they see is someone putting in the work in during their performance, and then that's it. And that's the reason why I talk about the difference between the UK and the US, is because the US is so used to it because everybody is a performer. To be fair, especially in that particular state, California, everyone is. I'm an actor. I'm a singer. I'm this. I'm that. I'm a writer. But they also work like daytime stuff like at Starbucks and at McDonald's. They're doing their thing.
yeah,
I even saw Spider-Man. Spider-Man even came up to me, yeah, and he was like, "Hi." I'm like, "Peter, is that you?" Like,
Toby Maguire or the original one or one of the other two.
I don't know which one was under that one, but after Spider-Man was flirting with me and all sorts, he asked for $10. I was like, "Wow, this is how you guys going on up in LA?" Man's asking me for a tenner out here, not even like $1. $10. Wow, $10 for Webby man. Times are hard. This guy is constantly living.
Yeah, Leslie's a bit mad. I came across what's it called, a mad man who was having a racist argument with himself
Oh
outside
my god,
Popeyes.
yeah. Oh my god, of all places.
Yeah,
I bet you just want to go to Popeyes get some biscuits in it, yeah. But you got biscuits, you got redneck, you got freaking a cup of freaking clam, like just around there. Like it's just it, it's crazy. I've seen it as well. I've seen where instead of the racism, I've seen the Bible basher ones.
Bible bashing.
Yeah, man. That ones I keep going. And the Lord told me I don't even need the Bible. The Lord told me no, 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 no. I'm thinking, yeah. The Lord told you to go to sleep. Get some rest.
But
The Lord told you to shut your eyes. How about that? Just woke up.
but you mentioned a few things. So I've had a conversation with different comics about comedy in America and
Yeah.
in UK, and you mentioned something that we are tend to be more introverted. But I think with Americans, I don't know. I feel that I always get told that they're more two-faced than us, but then again, I come across a lot of English people that are quite two-faced as well. So
Well,
that's
it
not
can
true.
be because America's dramatic anyway from the day they were born. I mean, I don't mean the land. I mean the people that who are there now. Um, I mean you've seen the political jargon that's going on right now in the states. It's just crazy. It's like Game of Thrones, just no dragons. It's mad. Um, but yeah, over there, everyone can be two faced or even three faced. I mean, it's a crazy world. But at least you're in your zone. No, none of that can bother you. It can't phase you. I think a lot of British actors and comics who fly there first time, it'll be like, wow, oh my god, kind of thing. Oh, he's my best friend now. Like it's like, no, he's not your best friend. He wants to do business. You know, she's not your buddy. She just literally wants you to be part of her production, and then our production's done. You guys may not be talking anymore.
Yeah,
You
it's
know, it's business.
it's a. What do you make of their sort of style? this is a thing that I've had a chat with. Like, are they better performers than us? Are they better writers? I think as a whole,
They
from
are
what I've
more.
seen, they're slightly
They're
better
more
than us.
free. I think they're more free. Even though a lot, because like I said before about the whole level 1 to 5, you can't get from a 5 to 3 because we're now getting into this era where people are getting so sensitive now on anything, and obviously we've got social media like Twitter and stuff. Little birdie saying something, always criticizing something. But like my granddad used to tell me, you can't please everybody. Even like my godfather used to be on Butter Malone. You can't please everyone. Be yourself, but behave yourself. Um, Make sure you stand for what you're saying. Kind of stuff. Over here in this country, it just takes so long. I've noticed that it takes so long for people to get that breakthrough. I mean, good example. Slim the comedian. He should have been up there ages ago, but only now he's just getting up there. And I'm like, God damn, you've been in the game from when my uncle was working at the Empire. You know what I'm saying? Back in the 90s. It's mad.
Yeah.
There was a show back in the day called was it Hackney 291? We spawned LWT. So that's taking it way back. London Weekend Television. And I remember like my uncle working there, and that's when I first got to meet Rudy Liquid. I think was Angela Martin. I know Rudy Slim were there. I think Curtis Walker was there as well. Leo Mohammed, Miles Crawford, another great comic. Oh my god. And yeah, these lovely veterans, they're in their 50s, going on 60s now, and I'm 31. Damn, it's just like these people should have been up there a long time ago. So when I now sometimes watch Live the Apollo, have you watched it recently?
I've not really been watching it. I've not for a long time. Like, I think the only time I've really watched it religiously was when Frankie Boyle was on there regularly, and like
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Dara Breen, with the
I'm
original
glad.
OGs.
See, I'm glad you mentioned Frankie Boyle because he messaged me one time during lockdown. He responded back to what's it, my DMs, and I was like, oh wow, Allah,
Oh,
cheers, mate, yeah, lovely. Hope you're staying safe at home. And then yeah, but what reason I mentioned the Apollo is because the original Apollo in America, and I think that is it Alabama, if I'm right? It's one of those states because Apollo wasn't didn't
oh
begin in.
yes, yes, yes. I do remember that because I think I remember Will Mars doing a set at the Apollo in America.
And Steve Harvey hosted it recently. Gladys Knight and the Pips, they begun their stuff there too. But with singers and rappers and comedians. So even things like that, it's different. Their ethos on their Apollo. That's it. I think it's Harlem. I think it's Harlem Apollo. Whilst over here is Hammersmith. And when I look at that one, that Jack D and I've forgotten the other guy who created the Live Apollo on the BBC. I remember it was mostly white comedians. Obviously, you got your Midlands and your Scottish, and your Irish, all around there. But when I used to watch it, I just think this is the same thing over and over again. And then they have the same faces as well. So only recently they have more black and Asian comics like on there, which is good. But then I'm going, this particular black comedian has never done urban. What the heck? How could they do this? How could they jump hoops? Like, what could they jump? So I think it's good that we do see, well, from my perspective as a black comic, I'm seeing comedians who look like me but sound different. They're not doing the same urban rhetoric. They're doing political satire. You got some of them doing some other genres. Then basically, as a viewer, we're not predicting okie doke from that comic.
Yes, I think I know Sophie Duker.
Yeah, she's another. I need to meet her. 2 times I wanted to meet her. I couldn't even get to see her. Edinburgh Fringe and there was another one, Leicester Comedy Fest. Couldn't get to see her. I was vexed. But I got a lot of questions for her. Yeah, I'm like, how you Queen of Cameroon? How you get from there to there? And you're double smart, and your hair's natural, How? Like, how did you break this barrier? You know, like it's just so many questions.
Hmm.
What do you use for your skin? You know what I mean? Like, I'm asking some random questions to Sophie. Why you got the same name with my mum? My mum named Sophie as well. Like,
But she's part of the same demographic of though she's a different race to some of the people that are there. She's just part of the same sort of group of people that are there.
yeah, because she was. Let me see. I think she was the third black woman I saw on Mock of the Week. Because first was Jean Yashere, then it was London Hughes, and then Sophie Duker. I don't know if I saw any other black. No, I think Tanya Moore might have been on that show.
And Ava Vidal.
But again, it's still under a handful. Four. Where's me? Like, they need to get me then.
It is,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it is
They
mad.
need to get me on there, man.
But what would you say? So you've gigged a bit in America and you gigged a bit in the UK. How would you compare like the black circuit of here and over there, and how would you compare the mainstream circuit of there to here?
I'm glad you asked the question. So the mainstream over here is still predominantly white male. You know, um, we're having a lot more. I mean, okay, let me split the difference now. So it's now urban, mainstream, and alternative. So the ALTs are basically what are they? The gay community, queer, religious, so meaning like it could be Islamic, full on Christian, church, comedy, Jewish can be also the opposite of non-religious. I forgot what they're called now, where people don't believe in God. What do people call it?
Atheist.
That's it, yeah. So you got atheist comedians, and I ain't glad they're hilarious because I'm like, oh, is that way you did that church? Oh, did and I love them, because they make something so sad funny.
Hmm.
That's what I love about them. Any comedian to be fair. And then you've got disabled comics. Oh, I kind of go. Yeah. So you got disabled comics, we're part of the alternative as well. But you can also be disabled, gay, and what was the other one? Disabled, gay, atheist.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like layers and layers and layers that can make you unique and stand out from the rest. And that's what I love about this industry. But going back to your question though, with the Black British urban circuit and the African American urban circuit, the African American wins because they begun this thing called Chitlin Circuit back in the 40s, 50s. So doing the jazz nights. You're talking about when Red Fox was young, the Progressive Soul. So they've been doing comedy for decades. Like I said, light years before us. Whilst over here, you think of the Windrush era when people from the Caribbean came here. There weren't much people doing comedy, like in some clubs. What club? Like there was none of that going on. It was mostly music. You'll mostly hear like calypso, soca, raga, all that kind of stuff going on here before the comedy even was invented. However, that being said, there was comedy implemented within the music, within black music, when the first generation came here. There weren't really stand up until I'll say until again the 60s. So I think it's Charlie Williams.
Hmm.
And he's not a black man from London. He's a brother from up north. He's I think was the Yorkshire man.
Yeah, he was on the comedians, and he has
Yeah,
a
the
funny
comedian
story.
and look how many racial like antidotes he put in his stuff. He's taking Mickey out of himself. And along came a young man called Lenworth. And look at that, Lenny Henry begun. You see what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. And imagine there could have been a lot more black male comics, but because in this country compared to America, we don't have our own channels or productions as them. It's really tough, and we have our own like clash and wars. Like the what's that Marvel film? Why am I forgetting it? When Iron Man versus Captain America.
Oh, Civil War.
Right. So in this country, we have our own civil war anyway, which would stop immediately, but it's not. Africans versus Caribbeans.
Oh, voila.
Yeah, Wahala. Yeah, we still have that now. So imagine if we didn't have that, because remember, Americans don't have that mess. I mean, they have that, the East Coast versus the West Coast, the Bloods and the Crips, and all that kind of stuff there, but that's different. They still have that motivation to have their own stuff, their own productions, their own, functions. Whilst over here, we're beginning it, but it's the way we're doing it. It's like, oh, this is by an African man. This is by a Jamaican man. It's literally that sort of nonsense going on. It's like, oh, man, you're black, all right, and you're black as well. Shush your eyes. Come, let's continue working.
It's very but I saw with some of it that it's in some areas. I watched that film with Blue Story.
Yeah.
What's it called? The different areas, like in one, like Peckham was Caribbean, or like Deptford was more African. It's one or the other, and there was a big.
No,
That's part.
Peckham is more Lagos, it's more
Okay.
West African, and
Okay.
Deptford, I'll say a bit more Caribbean.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I forgot about Deptford for a second. I was thinking more my old original area, Lambeth. I'm thinking Brixton because the amount of war that happened between Brixton and Beckham when I was growing up, when I was in school, it was carnage. The only place where it was calm was Camberwell. Reason why? 'Cause it's just right in the middle. Brixton's there, Peckham's there. Camberwell is right there.
There's a bit of. I heard now that things have got to the stage where there's these fights between two different blocks in the same postcode.
Same postcode, yeah, that gets on my nerves. Instead of just boroughs, now it's postcode, and I feel myself, but hold on, in Streatham, you're gonna be stepping on here, and then you're gonna be stepping over there, just across the road. What are you guys playing at? And do you pay rent? I'd be like, young man, what? Oh, so your mum don't even own these roads. I understand if these boys came from like Dulwich, because there's families that run those roads. That's why we have like toll systems. You have to go pay a certain tax rate to get your vehicle from one end to another. But gang, really? Postcode? No, no, no.
Hmm.
It's silly. And the worst thing about it, again, from my perspective, when I know certain people from all these gangs, and I go, I'm gonna see you next week. You're gonna come to the christening next week, and you're gonna see me next Friday at our cousin's birthday cookout. You're gonna see you like next week because we go to the same university. I'm like literally, as black people, it's too small for beef. You know what I'm saying? It's too small because we'll know each other's parents or aunties, uncles, and cousins. We know too many people, especially in the Caribbean. Like we know way too many in the West Indies.
You're too close together. You'll know each
Yeah.
other, and it's
All the small islands know each other. It's like, yeah, I know you know my cousin, you're my godfather, you're your godmother, and yeah, you. It's just nah. It's that monopoly messed up.
that's often sometimes where the biggest wars in. Look at Game of Thrones or the War of the Roses. They were families. If you look at what the story
yeah,
that involved that war, they were families. So
yeah,
when you have such closeness, sometimes the hatred is deeper.
it does. Yeah, that's actually a good point. You know, they say blood's thicker than water. You tell them, whew, they've told me twice. Yeah, that. Mm. But it's still silly though. Like, oh, you can't step on here on this road because it's my road, it's our road. You gotta pay £10. Yeah, blah blah blah. What? Pay who? I will pay you 10 backhands. Yeah, and I'll tell your mama, like, move out my way. Like, yeah.
But comedy's a bit like that as well in some respects, isn't it? With different, there's lots of everyone talks about there's a lot of cliques in London, but I think it's all the way
Yeah,
in
there's a
different
lot of
in
clips.
America, in New York, in LA. There's so many cliques and so many different wars.
But I mean, the American ones, they'll be more in your face about it, saying that, yeah, this is my homie. I F with this one. I da 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 da. They'll tell you clearly because they have nothing to hide. They just live another day. Whilst in this country, it's more like, hi, what are you doing here? Ah, I see. It's like that in this country. Like, for instance, I remember going to an event called Esquire Townhouse. It happens every year. Well, I used to before the lockdown. And there's about a handful of black people there. And I remember coming across someone, and I said, "Oh, this is a really nice place. This is a nice mansion, and oh, look at this, it's glorious." And the woman just looked at me and went, "Are you on work experience?" What? I was like, "No, I'm a guest here. What are you talking about?" No. And I'm just like, if I was white, she wouldn't talk to me like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because it's one black woman talking to another black woman. She's like going, "Oh, you ain't got your shirt on. Do you need your work clothes?" And no, what are you talking about? You see what I'm saying? It's just mad. And then you see another, there's a black man who works in the fashion industry. I mean, he's a freelance for like, Vogue, Vanity Fair, and all them things there. And he's just amongst all his white counterparts and takes a glance at me and it just goes, oh, kind of thing. It's like, what the hell? What? No wonder we're so divided. Because we go to places like this, which is for the Royal Arches going towards Pall Mall. Black people kind of different around there. I'm like, what's going on? We're meant to have a unity. We're not meant to be divided like that.
I think some people feel that if you're there, you're going to take their slice of the pie.
Yeah, what pie? Does it taste nice? No, like I don't want it. Like you see what I'm saying? And but the thing is, my family taught me. They said, look, you're born and raised a Londoner. Discover London. Discover the city that you're born in. Because there's a lot of people, like we said about the postcode war thing, there's a lot of people my age or younger who are still stuck in their areas. They're stuck in their boroughs. They don't want to travel to certain places. They'll, I said before on stage, they'll be at Knight's Hill, but don't want to go to Knight's Bridge. But they want the people from Knight's Bridge to come to Knight's Hill. Why? Get your ass down there. Get your Oyster card and go and get yourself down to the city. Be yourself, but behave yourself. That's all. You see what I'm saying? But typical, some people just go down there and get some Nikes for like 300 quid and then be like, oh, my days, I ain't got no money, I got to sign on and yeah. Like, it's just like, come on, man. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But at least I break those barriers.
But I think you mentioned something before that you do all the circuits, don't you? You do the alternative, you do the
alternative, urban, mainstream.
How do you play the different rooms?
Well, I'm still me, but I have various sort of various intros and structures, if that makes sense. Because I don't write my jokes, so I literally just go in there and do my thing. So the way I do it, I have to read the room very quickly. And even though I'm dyslexic, reading a room is hard. Okay, it's not easy. So it's just like, okay, so these guys are around about 30s, 40s, probably 50s. Okay, majority of them are white. What type of white? They're Cockney white. Let me just listen. Hi, you all right? Okay, so they're basically not Cockney white. They're the opposite. They're middle class white. They have Land Rovers. Good on them. Okay, mostly female. Yep. Okay, so not much males in here. I better support the women a bit more. There's a few black over there. There's a few Arabian. There's a few Asian there. All right, cool. Right, the show begin. And that's how I do it. That takes about 15, 30, 20 seconds to do it. Because a lot of comics have a habit of, especially it's a big venue, they have a habit of like going in the venue, getting a drink, and going to backstage and waiting for their turn to be on stage. I don't do that. I mostly go in there, go backstage, put my coat and bag down, and walk around the room, have a conversation, walk around the venue. Or even talk to people that are waiting outside on the queue. Especially if it's cold, cheer them up, because that's what I learned in America. When you're outside, it's like, hey, everybody, stay in line. You're going to go in on time. Okay, everyone feel all right? Yeah, that kind of stuff. Here, we don't do that. Here, the security are so, they're pricks. Like, they'll be like, stand in the wall, get closer. If you don't, shush, she ain't coming in. Why are you telling them that? They're coming to have a good time on a comedy show. Now it's pissing with rain. They're gonna make them pissed off when they come inside. Nah. Like, it's just nuts.
So I'll tell you something that I had an experience of recently that annoys me about a gig, and then you can share that. So I had it on Monday. I won't say the name of the gig, but it was in North London, and effectively he was very late in setting it all up, There's only about 3 people there. They started
Yeah.
late. He was trying to get everything all set. He was stressed, rushing it. He wasn't even too sure if it was going ahead. But they went ahead, and then before the show was about to start, he was showing the running order. He sent me an email saying I was on. Then I look at the running, I'm not on. I said, "Oh, come on, could you put me on?" And then he put me on. But then he was going everywhere. Like he was just like he didn't plan in advance. He didn't put it together. He got the host on. There's 3 people, and they brought in a dog. Now, this is something I think should probably stop. I don't think people should bring their dogs to comedy shows. I think that should be something that's stopped.
What was he thinking on Brings of Talent or something?
But she brought a dog in, and they let
She
her
thought she was
in.
on Brings of Talent.
Possibly. I'll send her an email later on. But it was just so the guy who was hosting, he did about maybe 30 minutes, 25 minutes. So
Yeah.
he tried to do crowd work. It didn't really go well. He made himself laugh, but no one else. He didn't create a nice atmosphere. Then he did his material, which didn't do too well either. And then he brought an act on. The other act tried to restore the room. He failed, but he had a good effort. And then the guy who
Yeah.
owns the gig, he comes on with his notebook, and he comes in
Oh,
like,
I hate when I see that.
he didn't really put any effort to make them laugh. He bombed. Then the next act
Yeah.
bombed, and then the host didn't do anything to recover the faith in the room. Then I went on, and then I completely killed, like, what's it called? The audience didn't want to stay there, but then when I bombed as well, it was a bit like I was a final nail in the coffin. And the thing that annoyed me about the gig was now that I think about it, I really should address the situation and say, yes, I'm awkward. This situation is weird. Like, don't worry,
Yeah.
it's going to be good. I should have said something to do like that, but I didn't. And
Of
then
course.
the thing with the gig, it could have been, even though there's a few people in there, it still could have been a good gig had the host actually put any effort in, and that's what annoyed me about that gig.
Nah, man, I've been through some terrible gigs as well. Where I think my problems always start backstage. I think that's also why I don't sit backstage like that, because you'll have groupies that will literally interfere and try to say, "Oh, what you here for? Who you come here for? Yeah, you got to be here for so and so. I want him." I'm like, "You don't want to be my dad. Hey, listen, nah, why are you here?" And I start fighting. Like I literally, I mean, and then if I do cuss them on stage now, boo, I'm like, why? What are you booing me for? What? Because I caught you in the act, yeah? All right, cool. That's how Urban is like. Urban was ruthless to me, but I'm
Oh,
glad that I discovered. I'm glad I discovered those ruthless moments. Even to the point where I remember there was a show called Sunday Show, and I've forgotten who the host was. I think it was either A Dot Comedian or Mo the Comedian that night. And this was years ago. I was about 19 years old. And I remember talking about gangs. And I said, yeah, make some noise if you know about PDC, stands for Positive Driven Children. Um, and I said, yeah, people go, back, yeah, boom, boom, boom. I said, yeah, it's calm your noise. Why they called PDC? Should be called ABC. I mean, look, they're black, they wear black shades at night time, they got black bandanas. I mean, all black crew. Does that make sense? They're sitting there, you know what I'm saying? PDC, they're sitting there, laughing their asses off because they can laugh at themselves, which I love about them. But there was people on the cheap seats. They were like, "Boo! Oi, you can't say that. I'll shank you." I was like, "What? You got shank me?" So then I said on the mic, I said, "What was?" I said, "It's funny how the white comedians can talk about their gangs, the Crays, the Richardsons, and the ICFs. It's funny how in America they can talk about the Bloods and the Crips and Latino Kings, but we don't talk about our own gangs." And then I dropped the mic. I was like, "Ah," and walked off. Mike was
well,
damaged; it was dented because the way I dropped was really hard. And then I remember the promoter. He was like, "Oh, I wouldn't promote well." One of the co managers. He said, "Oh, I see how you study ground. Come down next week." I said, "Nah, pay my money. I want to go home. I want to come back here and get stabbed up." Nah, it's all right. You know,
he didn't pay
is
you.
it? They paid me, like, but I went home. I didn't come back to that show. And I remember, um, some of the guys from that gang, well, I say gang, those gentlemen, because they're now grown and they're doing wonderful stuff. PDC messaged me on Facebook, said, yo, B, are you okay? You're really lighting up tonight. Had a really great time. Thanks for involving us in your material, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, wow, it just shows the mindset on how people perceive comedy. It's not for you. It's something what us comedians, we're very different. We're meant to be all not predictive. Because what it is, a lot of the time, especially back then, I'm not sure about now, they expect black female comics to always have man hate jokes for an hour. And I don't hate man. I hate pricks, but I don't hate man. Yeah, like I don't want to be in that category. You know, the angry black woman all the time. Ladies, make some noise if you hate man. Woo! I'm like, oh, fuck. Well, you literally cop blocked about 20 people, yeah? You could have had a good night after the show.
Yeah, and how were you born? That's the thing. If women didn't like men, you wouldn't be born.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying though. A woman's scorn is really feisty. I have to say. You know? Like, but I didn't want to put myself in that category. I mean, I've done like man hate jokes before, but that's about my personal ones. That's about like my exes, you know, or abusers that I've been with in my life. Like I've done those materials. But that's for a different type of events. Those are sort of eventful, you know, like even this month is Women's History Month. You know, you got charitable gigs, you know, for women who have been in the domestic violence, you know, so things like that. But I still make it funny, make sure they remember you, you know, in a positive light. But there's certain gigs where they're very selective. You know, again, I just want to do my own rendition of selective outrage, but based on frigging promoters on public.
Yeah.
Because even promoters back in the day used to say, yo, babes, yo, variety, listen, you're funny, you know, but I can make you, you know, a bit bigger in the game. Hey, come to my house, come to my car, like, come to my house. I'll give you Catford, I'll give you Brixton, I'll give you Hackney. You know, I'm like, no, it's a big duck. Listen, Fox is on the road. How about you give me a call when the sky's blue? I'm going to my mum's house. Bye. And then when I'm walking off, they'll be like, you know, yeah, you're not gonna do right now. You're rubbish. You're shit. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, yeah, anyway, peace. Yeah, I'm on the bus now. Bye. You know, my freedom pass. Like, that's nothing I would never do, which my family have always taught me. Don't sell yourself short just to get somewhere higher for a moment. Because what if I did sleep with that promoter and then got those gigs he's talking about? He can easily pull me right down, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? Because in the social media world, you could easily put on social media and say, yo, Brighty did this for me, and rare. Yo, nah.
There's a funny thing with that, isn't it? With because I'll be us as men, we don't always respond well to rejection, but sometimes I don't know, women on the other side aren't very nice either. And so if you're going to be nice to someone who's a woman who's not been nice to you, they're going to make you look like that. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, I'll much rather not tolerate them.
But that's what I'm saying though. It's you got to remember, this is what you're talking. I'm 31 now. That was 12, 12, 13 years ago. So again, that's before the whole social media was popping. If that happened now, I'll probably might send a tweet or something, or do those hidden little like pictures and go, see the promoter, yeah, beware of him. Ladies, give me a call, DM me or something if this promoter been doing any shoppings to you. All right, yeah, you as well. Yeah, all right, then come, we're gonna go have a meeting. You know what I'm saying? That emergency meeting or something.
Have you done anything like that recently? Because there are quite a few well-known people. I'm not going to say who, because they'll probably do me over. But there's a lot of open trade secrets on certain comics, even that are famous now. There's like promoters.
I mean,
there's a big promoter.
Generations. It's gone on for generations though, like promoters and comedians. Like we've seen and heard it happen before. But it's like back then people shh. But now people are like, oh, you mean that person, that prick up in North London? Yeah, man. It's and I think it's not just urban, it's also in the mainstream too. So urban, mainstream, and alternative have the same circumstance, but it's the difference is how they deal with it, how they nip it in the bud. You know,
Okay. Is it being nipped in the bud in any of the circuits? That's the question.
that's a good question. And the thing is, if it has, how has it been nipped in the bud? You know,
Because there's a, I won't say the name of it, but there's a well-known promoter he's running a really big comedy club that's doing quite well for himself. But a lot of people have told me of stories where he's taken advantage and done things. And I had a guest on a podcast from Scotland who I recommend you listen to because he was an awesome guest as well. He's Darren Cannell. He told me there's a lot of problems with female comics getting bothered by promoters, but he's also been bothered by male promoters. And he said the fact that you tell him he's not into bangers and mash, they still try and bother him.
That means, you know what? I'm not laughing at the problems that he's trying to reach his bangers, but what I'm saying, is he's got to mash them up, innit? That's what he's got to do. He's got to give them the 1, 2.
Yes, of course. So when are we going to meet for dinner, Variety? No, I'm joking.
I'm joking. Okay, that how you doing?
I'm joking. But it is what it is, isn't it? It is one of those things in comedy and all entertainment, like with Harvey Weinstein, all of that going on. It's still there. Like I'm sure there's someone big like him that's still there.
Well, in the States, but we also have it here. But the only question is, how do we end these problems? Is it still being spoken about? Who is speaking for us? Who is leading towards a solution? That's what it really falls down to.
I think
because every time a comedian goes up a status, up a level, to level 1 to 5, I notice that they're not really helping their peers. I'm like, excuse me, this problem is still here.
Yeah, a lot of the times people don't care about it. They just worry about their own behind.
Yeah, exactly, because their backside's covered. It's insured. See?
It's one of those things, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of the times also people don't want to put the legwork in. So like with promoters giving them, they'd much rather have a promoter do things for them rather than go out and do it themselves. Or they'd much rather, they're willing to put up with certain things, some of the people, because it gets them to places and not, as long as it doesn't bother them, they're not bothered. But let me ask you this. What is your opinion on Louis C.K., considering that he was caught doing the fiddly in front of ladies? I know that someone told me that he didn't, but what is your opinion on him? Because he's been unscathed.
Hold on. Got to get my charger because it's 4%. Wait, hold on. Hold that question. Right. That's a good question, by the way. Right, got it. Okay. So let me just plug this thing in. How prepared this comedian is. Not really that prepared. Yes, as you can see here. Put that in. Put that in. I'm liking this juicy question here. By Louis C.K. Okay, boom. All right, so I think that's placed over there. All right, wonderfully. Yeah, I like this question. Okay, so hold on, ask it again.
What are your thoughts on, despite what we said before about people being odd or doing dodgy things, but let me start the video again because it looks as though
You're paused.
I am back. So
now you're moving. Thank God you're breathing. I got scared. I was like, oh no, he's got the judginess now from Louis C.K.'s fans.
I think so.
Oh,
I think so. Mate, they're in the cupboard. That's what's happened. Now, but what's your thoughts on that? Because there's a lot of like of people coming back from doing something like that and being like Louis C.K. because he's sort of unscathed now.
Yeah, because I mean, okay, is Louis C.K. the one that has a wife that is black?
No, that is Bill Burr.
Bill, thank you. So I used to, when I was younger, even to this day, I always get them two mixed up.
Well, they're both ginger. Whoa, no, 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 that is gonna get me cancelled there. Whoa, no, 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 no. Whoa, I can't say stuff like that. I get that all the
I
time.
got him. I got him. I
You
got
got me
him.
into trouble now. Oh, no, I've had that. No, I don't know. They are both brilliant comics, and
They're both
I'm cancelled
strawberry
now.
blonde.
I'm cancelled now. That's it.
They're both strawberry blonde, chunky cheeks, loudmouth guys. Yes, they are. Like,
I'm
but no, but Louis C.K. though, he needs to behave himself. He's been naughty for years. But I mean, has it really tarnished his career? Because like
No,
I said, the Americans are different than we are over here.
it hasn't. He's back to normal, I'd say.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's different. I mean, if Louis C.K. was a black comic again and that, he got accused of that, oh my god, bye bye. Yeah.
But would do people deserve a second chance? Because I know, like with Philly or Huff or whatever, he was a troublemaker in America, and then he came over here and did dodgy stuff. But he's sort of been cancelled in a way. But some
But
comics
you
still
know what?
talk to him.
He still has love in the United States because we've got mutual friends there. So you remember I talked about the Black Hollywood Live or that I participated in.
Yeah.
They still love him there. So I'm
Oh,
saying in LA. But I understand though that why people like Fidel Huff and Desiree Birch, Kmart Bob come over here and succeed and climb the ladder a lot more of success to level 5 in this country. Because it really is a battle in the States over there. But yeah, I mean, it's made me think of a lot of more things now. So again, going back to the selective outrage, could you imagine instead of the American Academy, so the Oscars, the British Academy having two black comics? I'll give it make more simple. From Peckham, Mo the comedian says a joke about John Boyega's mama, and John goes up there and goes,
I don't
I
think he would
think
do that.
both I think both comics, no, but that's if hypothetically, I hope the Lord it don't happen. Well, the comedian and the actor will both, their careers will be done. They'll be just done. Because we wouldn't have no Next Up or Netflix special for Mo to do about that happening, or John Boyega having another movie after that. Like, it's different. In this country, we're very strict as well.
Okay.
We don't make something out of, it's not something out of nothing, but something tremendous out of something outrageous.
Okay.
in the UK, whilst in reverse, America does. Even politically, they'll do that. I mean, look at Donald Trump. Like they'll literally go, "How do you guys come up with this stuff?" My God, yeah. So yeah, it's different.
But what's your thoughts on? So you mentioned a bit about pervert in the bushes, but like,
Yeah,
what's your thoughts on like some of the dodgy things that go on in comedy in terms of people playing all these little things and Game of Thrones business on each other, and then what do you make of all that goes on? Is it on the same principle that we all think there's a small slice of the pie, so we just try and
yeah.
kill each other,
People always
get
think in
the
the pyramid mindset. Like you climb up. The more higher you go, the more less people you see, and then you're the only one man standing. I mean, yes, stand up is a lonely thing, but in general, as a business, it should be with a good realm of people. You see what I'm saying? You can't be closing gates to other aspiring comics. I know a few comics who have done that who are now living in the States. And they I don't name names, but they pulled a ladder. So they've climbed up, flown to the States, and then pulled that ladder away and go, oh no, there's no one else there. Just me. Me. I'm like, what excuse me. Like, and the thing is, that particular comic, I don't want to say their gender. That particular comic, thought they were so slick that they didn't know that most of us comics over here know other comics from the States. So remember, there's an app, I'm not sure it's still going on, called Clubhouse.
Yeah.
During the lockdown, oh, that was wicked. I mean, the fact that anyone could talk about any subject, about anybody, I was like, wow. And the things that I found out, I was like, huh, uh-huh. And this is around the time after I had my brain surgery as well. So it's about 4 or 5 months in. I'm staying on my mom's house, and I'm literally on my phone, on my tablet that I had at the time. It's broken now. I was listening to it, and I was thinking, wow, is that what they're doing now? Oh, that's how they got this. So they step with that person, and they step. Okay. Oh, and that person's married. My God.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. That makes sense. Right. And I've known that person for years. I know their family. That raw. And I promised their family I wouldn't box him in the head, but okay, all right then. Yeah. And it goes back to what I said about saying us comedians we're human. But it's just the fact that we have all these like social apps where you can get all this news. It's not just about the Facebooks and the Instagram, Twitters. We've got things like Clubhouse and these other social network things. I'm thinking, wow, you've got a SoundCloud for podcasts and all that stuff. You can find out all this stuff. So as a comedian myself, it makes me more wary now. Going, oh, be very careful. Like what you do. Like where you're going, what you're drinking. Just drink some juice. Something that's nice for you. Buy your own juice. Make sure no one buys it for you. It makes me wary.
What? Do you have any names? No, I'm joking. You can't do that. You can't do that.
Can't do that right now. NDA. Yes, dude. Rules. But I think, I also reason I'm bringing that up is also it's a learning curve because of someone else's circumstance. I have to say it like this: I'm learning what not to do, even when I go up in the ladder of success. Still don't do it. You have no reason to. Don't even think about it. Okay, think about it if you want to think about jokes, but don't think about trying to do them things. No, don't sell yourself short. Just to climb up a few steps on the ladder, because you can fall back down.
Yeah, it happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, the acting world, the comedy world, musicians. I mean, it happens to a lot of talented people because their talent is being overshadowed by affairs or scandals or some stupidness or drug related something.
Okay, and if you were going to look at Sweet 16 Variety D, what would you say to her entering the comedy world? And what is your advice to comedians or actors or comedic performers listening in now?
I mean, if you're saying what would I say to my 16-year-old self is, okay, so variety, your mum will still get on your nerves, because she loves you. Do what you're doing. Be careful where you're going, because when I first started comedy, it wasn't like legit because in the UK we have I'm not sure if the law is happening now, but back then you couldn't be under 18 doing stand up. 3 reasons because of effing and jeffing. Second reason because there's alcoholic beverages. It's not Ribenas and that. And thirdly, it's party Betty buys. What are you doing out there at 10, 11 at night? At the age of 16. Then literally just continue. Break the glass ceiling. Don't be scared. Stand your ground against any dodgy promoters. Stand your ground even more. Tell someone, because with me, when I was younger, look at my younger self, I was stubborn. I wasn't able to like tell the other comics that what happened. And the thing is, there was stubbornness and then there was fear. So stubbornness was like, nah, I can handle this by myself. I'm a real G. I have no sisters, I have brothers. But then you got the scared part going, if I do tell them, would I be able to perform again? Would I be blacklisted? What's gonna happen? So that was all running in my mind at the time.
And that runs through a lot of people's minds today.
And even back then, I didn't tell about my disability, about being epileptic, because first people think of is photosensitive, and I'm not. I love Kodak. I'm not allergic to it. Love Polaroid pictures. You can snap, flash every day. It won't affect me. My epilepsy that I have is called complex partial, which is based on dehydration and sleep deprivation.
Okay.
So that's what I have. I've had it since I was a baby. And then yeah, anything what's it, neurodivergent or having any neurological disorder, it'll be seen as like a curse to some people. That's why I had to keep hush about my disability as well, back then. But if I told my younger self, I'd be like, just say what you got going on, because there's other doors, other avenues to go to. Because I'm one of those South Londoners that are not scared to go out of their borough or ends to discover the industry, especially meet people that I've seen on telly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've only been signed now during this recording. It's been 1 year and 3 months since I've been signed, but I've been doing comedy for 15 years.
Video.
And you probably see my Facebook and Instagram. You're thinking, how are you meeting all these people for so many years? What's going on? And you've only been signed for how long? Like, yeah, it's mad. And there's more people to meet. The comedy industry is growing really rapidly.
So, what is the takeaway to anyone that's listening out there that wants to live comedy at their own terms and find their own niche? From what you just told me there.
Okay, so remember to respect the arts, and your comedy will flourish. Yeah, you may have some tumbles and you might trip on something, but get your backside back up and try again. Find your own voice. Don't mimic or copy any other comic, even if you inspire. Sometimes when you do meet your comedy heroes, you realize a lot of that hero that you thought they were. That's happened to me as well a couple of times. But you got to remember, everyone's human. That's one of the key things. Everyone's a human being. A lot of us comedians got things going on in our life personally. But we get to see the funny side of it for the ordinary Joes. What's the other one? Oh, if you do begin on social media, if you begin as a cyber comedian, as we nickname them, respect the stand-up comics, because the stand-ups have been standing in the cold longer than you. Yeah, that's for those cyber ones. Because when you have a mobile phone or anything like that, you can do that anyway. You can do it in a warm area and make people laugh. But stand-up comedians, we've been literally going through head and high water. I mean, like going through the snow to get to a gig, get paid, and get back home through the snow to get warm. You see what I'm saying? But vice versa, stand-up comics respect and engage with the cyber comics, because they're the ones who want to become stand-ups, perform on stage. They want to learn and develop their craft. So work together, something, not that segregation.
Yeah, have sex with each other and like become a team.
I mean, probably, but you've got to have permission or something. And if you do have sex with a comedian, which I have, make sure you have a comedy roast. There's I'm not too sure what my speech is called. It's simple but it ain't easy. And there's this thing I mentioned about 3 roasts. There's the sex roast, where it's like, I'm horny and I'm roasting, I need something. And then you've got the Sunday, sorry, you've got the comedy roast where you're cussing each other. So that's the second one. So you battle each other. Then you've got the Sunday roast where you eat dinner and you have a nice drink and go, I'm so sorry about that. I didn't mean to talk about your mama. Yeah, yeah. I mean, but you were really good that night, Friday night. Yeah, I must say. Oh my gosh, yeah. And then call it a day, go about your business. Like, like that's what basically happened to me. What was it, back in, I think it was 2008, Edinburgh Fringe. And that was my second time I went to Edinburgh Fringe. And yeah, I had the 3 roast.
Oh.
I was horny. We did it on a Friday, cuss each other on a Saturday. I won. and then said sorry on a Sunday. Bye bye. You know, it was literally like that. Nowadays, I don't think that could even happen because we got these devices here.
It's too segregated. You need to fight.
Someone will snitch on someone.
You
But
need to.
I tell you what, I'm really proud of that comedian who I had to, who I slept with back then, because he's doing really well now. He doesn't even live in the UK anymore. He's a writer now, and an award-winning one, and has a beautiful family. Wife looks amazing. I mean, just yeah. I mean, I was how old? I was like, yeah, I was young, my teens, my late teens. We were young. We weren't level 5. We were like level 1s and 2s. You know what I'm saying? So no one really cared. I've known people that care for our families. They were like, "Oh my God, we do all your foolishness now," you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah,
Right.
make sure you know.
So that's the takeaway from the podcast, guys. Use a Johnny.
Of course, or strap on.
Oh. Make sure it's not messy. Wait. No, but so if anyone wants to find out about you, where do they find out about you in a non-messy way?
Yeah, exactly. Don't stalk me, okay? Come ready. I'm dating. Thank you very much. Yeah. So yeah, basically, you can Google me. Type in Variety D. No, I'm not size double D. Sorry. Variety space letter D. Okay, for delicious. And you can follow me on all socials: Variety D, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel, Variety D. Yeah, just literally check me out. But the easiest way to find me is Google me, Variety D Comedian, and you'll see all my stuff.
All right. So you know where to find out about Variety D. The D stands for Dantastic, or
Fantastic, yeah, you're funny. I said that. Delicious, okay. Delightful.
D
Delta,
delicious
okay.
stands for delicious comedy. Okay.
Oh,
Delightful.
BT, huh?
Delightful comedy.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
And she's gonna pay me for the quote, okay? If you want to find out
I'm paying
about
him chicken wings. I'm paying him 5 chicken wings, yeah. All right, cool.
Popeyes, and make sure you have a bit of egg fried rice with that. And there needs to be an
Wow.
amalgamation of like African and Asian food. I've seen it.
I
There
mean,
needs to be.
I can get you the Uncle Ben's, you know, like, you know, ready-made egg fried rice. You know what I'm saying? Just for 99p. You know, because it's cost of living. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough. I got to be understanding. So, if you want to find great rice like Uncle Ben's rice or Asian rice, you know, listen to this podcast, you'll find out about it. Just give us a 5-star review on Amazon, iTunes, and yeah, just follow for more because we've got a lot of interesting guests. One thing that I'm looking into is maybe looking at the psychology of comedy, maybe even talking to a few people outside of comedy. But that's
Cool.
all for now, and I'll see you guys soon.
Yep. Thanks for having me.